How much time we got? Okay, perfect for questions or whatever you guys got. It is, I don't think I have it in here, but does anybody run guard tackle counter or GT like power where it's down on the front side and guard and tackle both pull? Do you guys run that invert where the back is a sweep runner and the quarterback's a GT runner? It's a great complement to this. So if you're going to be in 3x1 flat mesh alignment and you're going to keep bringing that back across on that mesh and they're both running this way, next time you do it, both guard and tackle from this side go that way. Same read on that end. You kind of drop step to show that you're going to run it, get him to sit there, and you get that guy to chase that way. And then you got guard tackle this way, and you're gaining a numbers advantage by 2 guys at times. But it's a great complement to power read if you're going to be in that world. One of our guys that runs this system, Rhett, down in Louisiana, majors in that world of guard tackle counter and then power read. That's his base run game. And so for guys that aren't running zone, I don't think he's in here anymore, is the guys that aren't running zone blocking scheme, those are good counters to each other, bless you. So those are just good thought processes for those. And to me, that's one of the biggest things is not necessarily making other people do what we do, even though we have a system and it's online and we have our own community, is taking it and making it yours and getting it to fit what you do, because there's nothing worse than trying to get somebody to coach something a certain way when they don't believe in it, because the kids are going to see it and they're not going to do it, right? We've all been around those guys where they're coaching something that they don't believe in or don't want to be a part of, and there's nothing worse for the kids than that. So to me, just take whatever you guys are taking from me, even if you don't take anything, which would suck, is take something and make it your own and toy with it and do different things and change who the read player is and toy with it. That's what we do all spring and all fall. Fall camp, we toy with probably 6, 8 new little wrinkles of runs every year just to look at them to see how they go. And to me, there's nothing better than when you stumble onto something that turns out to be pretty good for you, especially if it's only for a year or two.
Just a question on when you're in the fall, you're installing. I'm so familiar with how you guys install. Mm-hmm. How do you install your gaps scheme versus your zone scheme and the complements? Do you go zone and then switch?
Normally, yeah. So it goes, and we've gone back and forth on it. It's normally a zone day and then a gap trap full day, which would include power, but it's normally like 1 bag zone and one of the 2 bag zones, and then Giants and Detroit, and then every time we get to a zone day, a new wrinkle in zone goes in, and every time we get to a gap day, a new gap scheme goes in. And then depending on what day it is, we might not put power in until we get to the first like low red zone goal line day. Like we might wait for that, because we found that the kids learn the double teams better when we teach them zone, especially Zorro, and then we teach them Giants, because Giants teaches you Detroit and Shark and Tampa, because it's teaching you where all the folds come from and where all the like doubles down to either the play side or the backside come. So we always start with those 2. And then that's also where we start with our RPO stuff of Giants has a specific RPO that goes with it. Zorro has a specific RPO that goes with it. But then you have all your counter actions off of it to protect each one of those. And we have our regular screens. And then, so like normally we'll start with 2x2 and 3x1 and 2x1. And then the next week we'll go with building 3x1 out of 2x1 and 2x2, where we'll fast motion to build the 3x1, but it'll be the same 3x1 play. We're just getting to it a different way. And then the 3x1 will build 2x2 and run a specific run. And then we just keep adding them up, but the line is still running the same 4, 5, 6 things. And that's why, like, to me, some of the guys that have taken this verbatim, like there's a guy up in Jersey, and I can't even think of his name. I think it was Jersey. Well, Drew is a master of it, but there was one other that adapted it like recently, and I might be wrong on it being Jersey, but he adapted it, and the only thing that he put in was runs, RPOs, and the play action off the RPOs. And I think quick game. I don't think he called a single drop back the entire year. But it's because it's all about protecting those plays, is you can throw down the field off of play action. And to me, like, as I was talking to some of the guys, this is probably the best run action pass I've ever had, is throwing 4 verts off of that, because you're going to have those 3 guys act like they're blocking and then just streaking down the field. Especially when you do it with that back coming out of the backfield. So you have the number 2 receiver act like he's going inside and then cross, and he becomes the landmark seam guy, and then that back just right up the hash. We threw it against Colorado like 5 times and missed the wide open receiver 5 times in the same game. It was atrocious, and we haven't run it since. It's hurt my feelings. That one's for you, Noel, because I know you're going to see this. So we got any questions before this last one? Anybody want to see anything else? What do we got? Probably like 10 minutes for this one? 5?
Power lead with the back, same side of the play?
No. Because the run and the both runs are going to the same side. Like you could run it like veer, like I've seen pistol teams run it like veer, where he just catches, opens up like this, and they're running power, and if that guy squeezes, he pulls it and runs outside like veer, but not out of just regular gun. I've seen teams run option off of it, where they block power and then they just attack the end, and if he widens to the pitch guy, then the quarterback is running power. If not, he pitches it, because what they have found is when you run power, especially against well-coached teams, when you get that double, is they'll get the end to squeeze a lot tighter than when you actually run just regular speed option at them. And then, like especially like if you're sticking in the power world and just ideas, I don't know if he does it anymore, but Gus at Auburn is a big power guy, which everybody knows, is he ran sprint out off of power. And so he'd run power on the offensive line. The back would be the shovel guy, like old Utah shovel option. He'd run out like sprint, and they'd have a quick route out here. And if the end came up, he actually just shoveled it forward. So he's actually running like a triple option out of it. I've only seen him run it a couple of times when I went down there visited a few years ago. But I haven't seen it in a while. But it's a good little wrinkle if you get those going against those really well-coached teams where the end squeezes as soon as the tackle steps away. But that's a whole different world.